Save today at Room to Room's President's Day sale. 55% off furniture and mattresses, 20% off accessories,
and 24-month special financing.
The time to act is now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Good Friday evening to all of North Mississippi. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe, and we have a love and shower-filled forecast ahead for your weekend as Valentine's Day plans are on the horizon. So, gentlemen out there, I hope you have gotten everything you need to done to make sure those wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whatever, make them happy heading into Saturday. Impactful storms are possible. That's our gift to everybody in North Mississippi, is just the rainy forecast ahead. Luckily, I think we do have some pockets of dry air for our Saturday, allowing for those plans to get done. But heading into Sunday, more widespread chances. And again, we will track all of that out here in the Room to Room Weather Center. The spring air, it was warmer this week. It gets even warmer into next week. That air keeps building for midweek and beyond. So this time next Friday, I think we're going to be even warmer than where things were today. And we do have our highlights from our Game of the Week presented by Ethan Foster. He was out there shooting those highlights, and he will be joining us in the Room to Room Weather Center, giving us the very latest on what took place in East Union. And it was a fun time for sure. Very energetic. But talking about energetic, we do have that storm potential this weekend. And as you can see, based off of our threat confidence, that level 2 threat for wind is what stands out because of the branches that are still hanging, dangling, impacted by the ice storm. The winds, even sub-severe winds, could knock those over and do damage to some of our property, whether that be hanging over houses or cars. So just make sure to park where you don't have to worry about that, or clear those limbs out in advance before these storms do move in. That severe weather risk for our Friday, primarily going to be West Texas and Oklahoma City. And as you can see, as we head into the coming days of our weekend, that threat continues to move east. That level 2 threat especially stands out for Houston, Tyler, Texas, Shreveport, Alexandria, Louisiana, but even in the southwest part of the Magnolia State, just southwest of Jackson. But that level 1 threat does extend into parts of Rolling Fork. Not at all impossible that we get that towards the Jackson area, even Meridian, on our Saturday late hours. We're talking basically Saturday, midnight and beyond. So Sunday morning, that's where we're waking up to that severe weather potential once again for parts of Louisville and Winston County, Knoxville County, and Pickens County, and moving more towards Birmingham, Montgomery, even all the way southeast into Tallahassee and Gainesville. So this is that severe weather threat that we've been watching all week long, saying that potential is there, and the Storm Prediction Center lining up with what we've been talking about and continuing to track this throughout our weekend. Let's go ahead and look at the first 12, and we'll see those rain chances already start to move in early hours of our Valentine's Day. We're 46 at 11, 44 by 2 a.m., but once that moisture moves in, the temperatures stop dropping, so more of a mild start to our Saturday. But by 5 a.m., there's that 10% coverage, and it will remain very isolated for at least the first bit of our Saturday. Once we get more to those evening and overnight hours, that's where those chances become more widespread, and we do expect some impactful storms to move into North Mississippi. So, Mama Justice Doppler radar, last few hours of these dry conditions before those showers do move in, but we are paying a lot of attention to what's happening in Texas because that is going to be driving our forecast into our Saturday and Sunday. High pressure driving that out of the area and leaving us with this low pressure center, like I mentioned, in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and over there around Colorado and New Mexico. What we're getting, and you see it right there, a few of those severe thunderstorm warnings already being issued due to those strong wind gusts, and even a few large hailstones not impossible. And as we track that out on Futurecast, we will see how this entire system continues to move off there towards the east. As we get more towards Saturday morning, you are getting that warm front lifting more into North Mississippi. This warm front is actually going to be the first chances we have of rainfall. So I'm going to get away from the low pressure center and move more into North Mississippi to track that out. 3 a.m., there's your warm front in parts of southern Arkansas and even just outside of Oak Grove, Louisiana. As that lifts more towards the north, those rain chances do climb because that's moisture rebuilding itself here in North Mississippi. And as that moisture rebuilds itself, it will have better chances of that rainfall reaching the surface. So we see a lot of green here Saturday morning. Is all of that reaching the ground? I don't think so just yet. I do think we get a few sprinkles, but this widespread, not exactly believing that forecast just yet because that moisture needs to build itself more and more. And that warm front will allow it to do so, but we need more of that moisture building in before these rain chances do verify. Now, by mid-morning and beyond, I do think that we do get some decent light rainfall in the area. But again, not going to be impactful, but it does give us that first round of rain showers. A few more of those moderate showers up there towards Benton and Tippah County by noon, but that's going to be those bands working their way towards the north associated with this warm front and elevating those rainfall totals up there towards Tennessee, northern Arkansas, and up there Missouri and Kentucky. But the main event, you do see it out here towards parts of Texas, and those deeper reds that we're seeing, that shows a lot of lift in the atmosphere, allowing for potentially strong and potentially severe storms to take place. That's that level 2 threat that's issued. As we get more into our Saturday afternoon, the area will be primed, and that's why for folks out there in Texas, Louisiana, and southwest Mississippi, we do have increased chances of the potential for severe weather. But as you look at those chances throughout the day, I told you isolated in nature for the start of the day, that continues into those lunchtime hours. So everyone watching right now, if you're making Valentine's Day plans, the best chance you have of staying dry is going to be a breakfast, a brunch, and a lunch before we get more into those dinner hours, and yes, chances do start to climb. Now, it is still scattered by dinner time, but it is a little bit of risky business as you get into those evening plans because chances are increasing. Into the overnight hours, I hope you don't have many plans because as that cold front moves in overnight, we will see showers, we will see thunderstorms and potentially strong thunderstorms depending on where you're at. So coming up here in the next 60, we're talking the latest on Storm Tracker, we're talking the latest on Triple Threat, we're also talking the latest on energy, and that's going to be ingredients that we're needing here in North Mississippi for those strong storms to take place. Now, there's very little of it, but there is still a bit of energy reaching as far north as North Mississippi. We're tracking where that's at, what time we're expecting it, and how that times out for your Valentine's Day forecast coming up right here in the Room to Room Weather Center in the next 60 seconds.
You've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
You wonder how they're going to experience the real world in real safety, where all kids are welcome and everyone has a path forward to new skills, advancement, leadership, something they will carry with them the rest of their lives.
It looks like each unit just won Spirit Squad of the Week. Each unit just won Spirit Squad of the Week.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, in the mix of all the storms, it is also our game of the week tonight, and that was East Union High School representing our fan section of the week as well as our cheer squad of the week. So shout out them taking the 2-0 series lead in our game of the week coverage, and a big shout out to our Ethan Foster for getting those highlights. He's actually joining us here in just a couple of moments with those highlights from our game of the week. Trust me, it's going to be one you do not want to miss. So as we look ahead in our forecast, as I was talking about, this weekend is going to be stormy, and we do see 67 degrees on your Saturday, same thing on your Sunday, but it is going to be a rainy forecast as well. So with the mild temperatures, unfortunately, storms are going to be likely, especially on your your Sunday. One note with the forecast, we'll look at that baseball forecast in just a moment, but it has been moved to a doubleheader for Mississippi State starting at noon on Saturday, and we also have a earlier first pitch there for Ole Miss as well. Ethan, if you want to check if that's a doubleheader, I haven't seen anything confirming it yet, but it is going to be a noon first pitch as well in Oxford. All right, let's bring it back here to our Mama Justice Doppler radar, where tonight in Oxford, in Starkville, in Union County, was beautiful conditions all the way across the area. So as you take a look at that forecast, we will continue to remain dry overnight, but we are watching this system out there towards Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, and Kansas. That's moving across the Texas area, and yes, producing a few of those storm reports as well. If we look right here, right in Lubbock, Texas, and I want to say, our chief meteorologist, Matt Laubon, he is from Lubbock, and he was talking about Lubbock himself, and on one of the forecast sheets that I had earlier this week, I wrote one town, Lubbock. And funny enough, I guess not really funny, but they were the only location so far that has reported any of those strong wind gusts, and that was a 65-mile-an-hour wind gust over there right in the heart of Lubbock, Texas. So, I guess that was exactly pinpoint accuracy, which is pretty difficult to do with severe weather, but when you have a local like Matt, I guess it makes it pretty easy. But as we talk our way into the forecast on our Saturday and Sunday, you can see that severe weather threat is in place for Lubbock, Texas, Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, and down there towards Abilene, Texas as well. Those individual risk areas, we're talking damaging wind. That's one of the focal points that we're talking about with this system, even into our Saturday and Sunday. But even out there in Texas, that level 1 threat is in place for damaging wind. And True Shield Roofing, I have a feeling that they will be busy, and their neighbors will be as well across the Mid-South, because large hail is possible even out there towards West Texas, Central Oklahoma, and working its way through East Texas on our Saturday. Looking at those individual areas, a little bit more of a primed atmosphere around Houston, Dallas, and out there towards Alexandria, Louisiana. That's going to be the area that we could see a few of those strong wind gusts, even a few possible brief tornadoes across that same general area, that level 2 threat. Again, this is more of a primed atmosphere, and we'll look at this more with our triple threat. That's what we're paying attention to for some of the strongest storms in this system. But even looking at wind, we are talking about a decent wind threat with this as well. A damaging wind risk encompassing basically the entire state of Louisiana, but even right around southwest Mississippi, all the way down there towards Hattiesburg and Jackson, and just around the Rolling Fork area. And large hail still primarily in Texas, possible in western Louisiana, but even that's a level 1 threat, so we're not expecting widespread reports, but still possible with that forecast. Sunday, that's where we mix in a few of our counties in Pickens County, Alabama, Winston and Noxubee County as well. That level 1 threat going to be the potential for those strong winds, but also the potential for maybe a few, I'm not going to say large hailstones, but I think small hailstones are not out of the realm of possibilities. So make sure to prepare accordingly, move those cars where they need to go, and clear some of the branches before the main impacts do move in on our Sunday night, or should I say Saturday night into our Sunday morning. And all of this to say, I know there's a lot of graphics, this is our confidence level. Level 1 for tornadoes, and again, that stays to our south. Key words right there that we're going to talk about with this tornado forecast. Winds though, a few brief, strong wind gusts. Notice how I didn't say severe. I don't know if we get over that severe threshold, but we don't need it for it to be impactful. I think a few of those loose limbs definitely have the potential to be knocked over with 30, 35-mile-an-hour winds. And then we can talk about some damage to our homes or maybe to cars if they're underneath those branches. Flash flooding, also a possibility with over an inch in a lot of locations with this system, potentially over 2 inches where those brief downpours line up. By midnight, 45 degrees, 44 there by 3 a.m., and mid-40s continue by 6 a.m. So the mild forecast does continue, but rain chances are moving into the forecast. So it shows that moisture building in, and that's what's allowing those temperatures to be a little bit more tame and not as cold as what it has been. As we build into those overnight hours, you can see how these showers do start to move into North Mississippi. One note with this forecast, the positioning of the warm front is going to be key to the showers that we get. If this lifts even the slightest bit north, then our rain chances do increase for those morning hours. But if it continues to be in southern Arkansas and western Mississippi, I think we do get a few sprinkles. But even this widespread seems a little bit optimistic with those rain chances. But that's by 2 a.m. Saturday, building more into those early morning commutes. You can see how that moisture does become a bit more widespread, but it's because this warm front is lifting more towards the north. So the positioning of the warm front is our morning rain chances. I don't think that it's going to be as widespread, but I do think that a few sprinkles do make its way to the surface and become more impactful as the day goes on. Low temperatures on your Saturday, like I mentioned, a bit more mild, 44 Tupelo, New Albany, and Houston, 52 Greenwood, 50 Kosciuszko, and 53 down around Belzona. So it is going to feel a bit better than what it did today, and today felt a little bit better than it did yesterday. That frontal boundary continues to lift into North Mississippi as our Saturday morning continues on. And look at the bands. They're going from a lighter green to some of those darker greens that are showing up. Now, on our legend, it's not very high up, but nonetheless, it shows me that more of that rainfall is reaching the surface because of the storm tops basically getting higher up in the sky and larger droplets forming as a result. So by 12 p.m., that warm front basically over the top of North Mississippi, and it will continue to work its way north during the afternoon hours. Now, once we reach our Saturday afternoon and evening forecast, take a look at what starts to move into North Mississippi. This is 6 p.m., and I know a lot of folks have dinner plans. So if you're in Clarksdale, West Helena, Sardis even, Batesville, Olive Branch, even around Senatobia, might want to make some plans a little bit earlier. It's never too early to have dinner, right? Well, I think that's where we'll need to be, or maybe plan a movie because you'll be indoors at that point. But anything you can do to stay dry with this forecast, I think out west, we have higher rain chances than what we're getting out east. I think we do get lucky with a few dry periods. That being said, I don't think we escape completely. It's just not going to be as widespread as what it is out west. High temperatures, 68 degrees Tupelo, 71 Starkville, Columbus, 74 Kosciuszko, Grenada, and Greenwood. Same thing even around Greenville. Now it is going to be our SEC, I almost said game of the week. I guess it is game of the week in the SEC. And that's going to be our baseball forecast at 1 o'clock first pitch, going to be in Starkville, 68 degrees first pitch, 71 by that fourth inning, and 69 towards that final out. Now why that concerns me? It's a doubleheader. If we're getting 20% towards that final out, that means the percentages just continue to climb for game number 2. So pack an umbrella, State fans. I think that we will be dodging some showers during that second game. Now, Ole Miss taking on Nevada, it is going to be increasing rain chances as well, but I told you out west has higher chances of rainfall quicker. 40% coverage by that final out, even a noontime first pitch, is going to potentially result in some showers by the end of the game. So same thing for you, Rebel fans. Pack that rain gear. Our severe weather risk primarily going to be south and west, so I don't think we get severe weather with that first round of showers, but not impossible to get a few rumbles and a few more of those impactful storms during those overnight hours. Now, what we're going to look at later on is the comparison between what's happening up north and the comparison to what's happening down south. Look at the reds that are showing up. And I know that's just rainfall, but it does show us the lift in the atmosphere. And as we get that forecast moving into Mississippi, deeper reds are showing up there towards Jackson and well south there into Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And that's where that severe weather risk is being held. If we look more towards our area, we are getting some reds, but honestly more yellows and greens showing up, showing that there's not nearly as much lift, but we are still going to be getting rainfall. So I don't want to rule out the rain chances, but in regards to severe chances, that went down the wrong pipe. But as we take a look at those rain chances, they are going to continue during those overnight hours. By 3 a.m., that line gradually working its way through North Mississippi, and by 5, 6 o'clock on your Sunday morning, that first round will be gone. And I don't think that we get severe weather with this. Down south, yes. But here in North Mississippi, the energy is just not nearly as impactful, nearly as much. And we'll look at that in just a moment. So Sunday morning, you're getting that low pressure center right over the top of North Mississippi, keeping those rain chances around all day long. So your low temperature Sunday, mid to upper 50s with a few low 60s, not impossible. And we said it's getting more mild. And we meant it. That moisture keeping it pretty comfortable for the start of our Sunday. The unfortunate part is with all those rain chances, we're not going to be able to do much on our Sunday, or at least not do much and stay dry. So that low pressure center working its way all the way through North Mississippi, giving us those moderate showers across the area. But I think that we stay void of any impactful storms. Maybe a few rumbles are not impossible, but I think that the worst of it will have passed by our Sunday plans. That low pressure center, I mean, an L of a forecast? I don't know if that's what it's trying to say, but nonetheless, it is right in the middle of North Mississippi, and that'll work its way out into those afternoon hours with much drier conditions, more isolated chances, and I think that we do escape with some dry conditions on the back end of our Sunday. High temperatures, 66 New Albany, Oxford, 70 in Houston, Starkville, and Columbus, 67 Belzona, and 64 towards Cleveland, so still those spring-like temperatures sticking around. And again, we are not going to complain one bit about that forecast. As we take a look at that severe weather risk on our Sunday, level 1 threat encompassing the southeast part of the Magnolia State, but even here in North Mississippi, that Noxubee, Winston, and Pickens County area under that level 1 threat as well. Let's go ahead and zoom things out on our triple threat. Again, a Mississippi Live exclusive. And Ethan, I apologize. We will get to our game of the week in just a moment. I want to make sure that we cover these rain chances, though, before we continue on. So Saturday morning, there's that first band of rainfall. And as you can see, we don't have any rotation, any wind damage, or any large hail. We would get these swaths that show up for each respective legend, and we're not getting any of that for that first round of weather. As we get into the afternoon, though, you can see how we do get a lot of these stripes happening out towards the west into Texas. And that's going to be the area that we were focusing more on for severe weather to happen. I mean, a lot of those helicity tracks there in Texas showing us that potential for hail, not impossible, and even a brief spin-up tornado, not impossible either. As we get more into our Sunday morning, you can see how those stripes do get into Mississippi, but a few of those getting into North Mississippi. And let's go ahead and talk about that. What this is actually going to be potentially some small hail. As you can see, those helicity tracks are not exactly bright or not exactly a stripe. They're more dull, and that shows that there's lift, but that lift going to result more in some small hailstones rather than that being any tornadic threat we need to worry about. And as we get more into our Sunday afternoon, as you can see, these showers and storms on the back end are not going to be anything too major, and we will basically escape that threat altogether. So as we advance it, I may have to take it off here real quick and yes, advance to the next graphic. Let's go ahead and talk about fuel. And this is overlaid here with our reflectivity along with a term that we call CAPE or fuel. And as you can see, out towards the west, we are getting some of those brighter returns of fuel. And that's big to our forecast because it shows that this is a much more primed environment. And as that storm system continues to work its way into Louisiana into our Saturday afternoon, still those yellows and oranges showing up, whereas here in the northern part, not much to show. And that will continue to be the case into our Saturday night and our Sunday morning. Even those returns, not overly impressive, especially this stripe that's going right along that leading edge of the front. I think that, yes, a few rumbles possible, maybe a few small hailstones towards Greenville and Rolling Fork. But when we're talking about severe weather here in North Mississippi, still down towards the south is where I would expect the best threat to be for severe weather, or at least the highest threat to be for severe weather. I mean, there's little to no fuel in North Mississippi, and I think that will continue into our Sunday, meaning we don't have much to worry about with this. But like I mentioned at the beginning, some wind gusts of 30 plus miles an hour, not impossible, and that's going to be enough to be impactful. So make sure to clear out those branches if you have not done so already. And even into those Sunday afternoon hours, again, a few stronger wind gusts, not impossible, but that's going to be on the back end of this system where some breezy conditions do move into the area. Let's go ahead and look at that 7-day forecast. And the 7-day forecast continues to show a beautiful forecast beyond this system. 68 degrees Monday with mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy conditions Tuesday and beyond, but those temperatures do climb, and that spring-like air that we've gotten to enjoy this week, it's even better into next week with mid-70s highs, mid-50s for those lows. Well, we're talking about good news, and my favorite part of the broadcast is here, and that is, of course, seeing those Game of the Week highlights. I know some folks in the chat were waiting on that. I do apologize. We do need to, of course, have weather first. We are Mississippi Live weather, so it makes sense. But we also like to dabble in sports a little bit, and that's where we do bring in our expert, Ethan Foster. He was at our Game of the Week. Ethan, I had to head out a little bit early, but you were there for the entirety of it. What was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it was fun, Gabe. Hate you didn't get to stay the whole time, but as always, I'm glad that you got to be there for just a little bit. And as who is going to come out on top and win this district title in 2A Region 2? Well, that's the question we all had to ask. Of course, you saw the jersey earlier. Shout out to our friend, Mr. Tommy White at East Union for getting us that jersey and helping us out. But let's take a look at how the game actually went down. So, you know, the Urchins, my heavy pick to win this game. You saw the jersey, the excitement at 6 o'clock, but did the Urchins pull out the win? Did they get the victory? Did they stay undefeated in district play? Well, we're about to find out together. It's a little bit of a shocker, maybe for some, not for me. But I did actually get surprised by the Hawks early in this game. You can see number 2 on the transition 2. They got that in early. They actually played very well early in this game. I thought from what I saw early on, Gabe, we might have a pretty competitive game on our hands. But as the game carried on, my mind changed pretty quickly. And that's all due to a couple of players, but specifically 24 right here, Marley Clayton with the 3 ball, down 10-13. Of course, that made it 10-16, or 13 all, I should say. East Union was making it rain, and actually less than a minute to play right here. This was the very next possession right here for East Union. Guess who they got it back to right here? 24 again, bang! Another deep 3. If you're going to wear number 24, Gabe, you better play like number 24, right? Now, the Urchins were up pretty staggeringly at halftime. It was actually 31-13 at halftime in favor of the Urchins, but let me tell you, that was just the beginning. Okay, we're going to start here in the second half. Marley Clayton with the ball, passes it inside to Caroline Sherwood with a little mid-range jumper. Soft touch there, floated it into the basket. And, you know, I did tell you, Gabe, that we had a big game from Marley Clayton, right? Well, as I was going through these highlights, you know what I realized? She might actually be the next Kobe Bryant right here. Look at those threes making it rain. Absolute crazy game by 24 there in the black and gold. But you know what? If you don't believe me, why not? Here's another inside play by 24. Marley Clayton right there. Bang. She can do it outside from three-point range. She can also do it inside. Now, here's the thing, Gabe. East Union continued to build their lead. By the end of it all, you see the final seconds ticking down there. They were just shy of a 30-point win to take the district title in front of a great home crowd, a really fun student crowd as well. The Urchins win it 54-26 over the Hawks from Myrtle. They hoisted the district title trophy there at the end of the night. Absolute domination by the Urchins. And Gabe, they did this all season long. They were undefeated in district play, undefeated in the district tournament, and now they prepare for the first round of the 2A state tournament next week. They'll play the number 4 seed from 2A Region 1, the loser of the Baldwin-Hatley girls game earlier tonight. So, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Urchins were my heavy favorite. And as it would stand, if you've been keeping up with me at home, you'll know that I'm actually 6-0, undefeated in my picks for Game of the Week. Gabe always calls me the basketball expert, but does that truly mean I'm an expert? Maybe not. But if you look at the numbers, what do they say, Gabe? Ball don't lie.
Ball does not lie, Ethan Foster. Thank you so much. It looked like a great time out there. I think one of my favorite parts of the night was the student section. ESPN showed up. Hello?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I was not informed. I thought they would have been out covering baseball. And actually, speaking about baseball, you did ask earlier about the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss fans probably know this already, Gabe, but I was doing some digging just to confirm, and Ole Miss has not moved to a doubleheader for Saturday. They have moved their game against Nevada up to noon. So Ole Miss fans, if you're planning to be there, don't plan for 2 games as of right now. That might get changed as things are prone to be changed. But for the Mississippi State Bulldog fans, had a close one tonight in Stark Vegas. They'll be back at it again tomorrow morning. I'll be there for both games, whether they win or lose, but I'm definitely looking forward to some Bulldog baseball out in God's country once again. It's finally back.
Well, go say hey to Ethan. He loves the camaraderie. So
that's right. I'll be there.
A go Dogs, and even ring a cowbell. Ethan, thank you so much.
That's right. And of course, we do want to say thanks again to our sponsors over at Langston and Lott for making this possible. We hope that you're having fun at home. I know I'm having fun getting to go out to all these different games, see these juniors and seniors shine on the court, and soon maybe on the diamond as well. We do have the state tournament starting up next week. We did mention February 16th. That's next Monday. More basketball being played next week. As we know, we get closer and closer to state championships. So again, remember, you get to help us decide where we go. Of course, East Union was the winning pick this week. We got to see some tournament basketball. You guys get to continue to help us decide, where should we go? Should we go back to see a team that we've already covered this season, or should we get, a sleeper pick, maybe a team that is surprising some people? That's up to you. So make sure you tune in again next week. Help us decide where to go on Monday, and then make sure you vote on our post on Tuesday to help us decide where we go, who will be the next Mississippi Live Sports Game of the Week, and who will come home with the Cheer Squad of the Week, the Spirit Section of the Week, and of course, the big win in our Game of the Week feature. We're excited to find out again. Thanks so much to Langston and Lott for making this possible, and it's always a pleasure to be back with you, Gabe.
Well, same here, Ethan, and you did a great job tonight, and I think that the thing that will matter next week is, of course, the Game of the Week. We love the Spirit Section. We love the Cheer Squad, but it's playoff time. And playoff time means every win matters, and it's win or go home from here on out. So we're excited for it. Next week's matchup might have a little bit more importance than what we've had so far this season. And Ethan, those picks might have a little bit more importance as well. So 6-0, it looks good, but it's 0-0 heading into the playoffs. And here's where we see who comes out on top. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I do hope that you have a fantastic evening. I do see some folks talking about in chat. See you tomorrow evening with our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut. He will be live in the studio here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 6 and 10. You want to tune in to that forecast because I'll have the latest on those rain chances. And of course, you need to make sure to download that Mississippi Live Weather app to get all of the latest details on that forecast. It is going to be free and available on iOS and Android. And as we watch that forecast getting into the Saturday and Sunday hours, that is, of course, what meteorologist Gabe is tracking at 6 and 10 on your Saturday evening. Tune in, keep them company, give them some Weather Watcher pictures, but of all else, have a wonderful weekend.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.